नमस्कार दोस्तों, स्वागत है आपका हमारे चैनल लैक्स बेसिलियस में। इस वीडियो को अंत तक पूरा देखें जिससे आपको पूरी जानकारी हो सके। आज हम लेकर आए हैं स्पेशल वीडियो डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस सर्जेस ड्यूरिंग कोरोना वायरस लॉकडाउन कोविड-19 स्पेशल। The psychological impact of lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic is felt in many countries, but for some it's especially bad because lockdown can quickly become locked up for victims of domestic violence. Call to abuse hotlines and police departments are spiking around the globe. Curfews and economic and social pressures have led to the rise in domestic violence at a par. WHO deeply troubles about domestic abuse spike. Reports of domestic violence rise under the lockdown. Lockdowns exacerbate domestic violence. According to the reports, every three women faces some kind of physical or emotional abuse or violence in the around the world. Moreover, the countries like Italy, Greenland, Rome, Britain, and entire Europe is facing hype increase in domestic violence during the lockdown period. Families and friends or relatives of the victims can try to maintain these relations, maintaining the social distancing norms. There must be a need to develop the code words among the family members, relatives, and friends of the victims to get their knowledge of having some trouble without indulging to their intimate partners. There is a need to develop shelter homes on the part of government and non-profit organizations and issue hotlines and helplines for those being victimized due to the domestic abuses. Let's have a watch over the conditions in India. Recently, National Women Commission has recorded the highest number of cases since August last year. There are questions raising during the period of lockdown and liquor shops being opened by the government. So curbs on alcohol led to more domestic violence. Will readily and cheaply available alcohol mean more domestic violence? Is it like that more alcohol is equal to more violence? Despite smaller household budget, people are spending on alcohol. Is it a reason that there is a social and economic pressure and domestic violence is raising among the families? According to the reports of NCW, the women's around the age of 15 to 49 years, 30% of them ever have faced physical violence in their life, and 83% of married women in India once or more have ever faced some physical or emotional abuse by their husbands or in-laws. UN and WHO also recommends for developing guidelines and measures to curb the domestic violence during this pandemic period to the various governments of the member countries. There is a condition prevailing in general that there is no proper help mechanism or complaint mechanism is being made by the agencies, and there is a need to issue helplines and hotlines for the victims to get their appeal being heard by the agencies. There must be development of some code words to the family among the family members, relatives, and friends so that there is a less threat of life and violence in the case victim being seeking help of some agency or their inmates. According to the reports of NCW, the number of cases of domestic violence reported to it has been raised drastically, which is seen by the example during the 22nd Feb to 22nd March 2020, only 123 cases were reported, whereas in between 23rd March to 26 April, 239 cases being reported to the National Commission for Women, which is just double the earlier one. The incidents of domestic violence have shown a rising trend unlike other crimes across the nation during the ongoing lockdown. Statistics have indicated. The WHO says that the risk of intimate partner violence is likely to increase as distancing measures are put in place and people are encouraged to stay at home. The violence of domestic abuse is much prevalent in each section of the society, but worse in the poorer section of the society. Recently, UN General Secretary appealed to the governments to pay attention and to prevent a horrifying global surge in domestic violence. Over the last few weeks, avid lockdown measures imposed by several countries to tackle COVID-19 pandemic. As per the numbers provided by National Commission for Women in mid-April, the cases of domestic violence had doubled during the lockdown compared to pre-lockdown period. Domestic violence cases have doubled than what it was before lockdown. The cases of domestic violence are high in the states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Haryana, and Punjab. To curb the situation of domestic violence and offences against the victims of domestic abuse in India, the Government of India had enacted the Domestic Violence Act 2005, which has been enforced on 26 October 2006. According to the Section 31 of the Act, there is a clear cut provision for the punishment of 1 year imprisonment and 20,000 fine if the accused finds guilty by the court. Moreover, the victim can also claim for protection, livelihood, and maintenance of her and her child under the provisions of the Act which have been laid in Section 18 to 23 of the Domestic Violence Act 2005. Thus, we find it a severe issue of the society which has been prevailing earlier also to this pandemic lockdown of COVID 19. But the serious concerns have been found by the agencies and authorities, then it has been recorded a drastic rise in the cases of domestic violence during this lockdown due to the emotional and social pressures on the people living over inside the house lockdown following the protocols of lockdown. So there is a need that we should discuss the issues among each other with harmony and prosperous, and there must be awareness among the women who are being victimized through the some kind of physical or emotional abuse which led to domestic violence. There must be awareness among the victims to report the such abuses or violences to their nearby relatives, family, friends, or their parents, not directly, as there is a strict watch over them by the person making abuse over them. So there must be some development of code words and there must be some hotlines and helplines being issued by the government agencies as well as the non-profit organizations so that the women and the victims being sufferer of such kind of domestic violences being able to report such cases easily at earliest so that the preventive measures can be taken or tackling of such offenses be made, and it has to be seen whether they feel free to report such cases or not. And in any case of such reporting, government must ensure the help to the victims at earliest so that the preventive measures can be taken to tackle down the such abuses as well as the committal of some more serious or severe offenses inside the house. So we have seen the various measures and social concerns of domestic violence. Domestic violence can be of any kind. It can be through word abuse, it can be through threats, it can be through physical violence. Never be keen and kind to the person victimizing you. It's not about challenging the social norms or your relationship. It's about being aware and reporting such offenses at earliest to protect yourself as well as your relationship as well as your wards. Generally, it happens that the in laws inside the home or the family members of the victim tell her that try to avoid and manage such situation as it's a household issue, but such things must be reported at the earliest to prevent the committal of further serious and severe offenses to be committed in society. So friends, if you like the video, please do like and subscribe our channel and put your comments in the comment box section so that we can improve our efforts to give you more knowledgeable videos and improve our work so that more updated and more knowledgeable videos can be shown to you. Thank you.